The game plays right here.
Are you ready for some football?
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, and WCSL Cherryville Gastonia.
And good evening and afternoon to everyone. Wednesday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and neither one of us have green on. Now that I look at this, I look at it. Pinch us. I better check my underwear. I don't even know what color underwear I got. Nope, it's red. Sorry, ladies. Men, whoever. No, you got green underwear on?
Nope.
At least you got a green kind of a drink in front of a yellowish drink, but I'm not going to count it since I don't have it either, so... me and Zach are down for the count on St. Patrick's Day. I guess our kids will get us later. But good afternoon, everybody. We got a fun day today, Zach. I know we kind of didn't really talk about too much, but we're going to talk about NCAA. We're going to talk about NFL. We're going to NBA. We're going to let Zach pick his games. We're going to fill out his bracket live here on the air and go through it and have fun with that. Then Hunter's going to do that tomorrow. So, folks, if you're tuning in, Hunter's not here today. He'll be here tomorrow. We're going to do another special podcast tomorrow with Hunter. He's got to earn his paycheck, Zach, so he's coming in tomorrow and do his thing. So Hunter will be back in tomorrow, folks, to help us out. But today, Zach's in to help me talk about some other stuff, and we're going to talk NFL, NBA. I don't know if we got any baseball. I got a couple things I got to ask you about baseball, see what you think, and more. Any major anything comments or anything you got before we get started, Zach, over the week? We hadn't seen you.
Other than the Bears getting Andy Dalton.
Is that the biggest news of the day?
Biggest news that I saw.
Okay. In
the sports world anyway.
Yeah.
They jumped off the Russell Wilson bandwagon pretty quick and got Andy Dalton.
Well, we can start there. You said what was the Russell Wilson? You saw that there was a trade offer.
Three first-round picks, 1 third-round pick, 2 starters.
Okay.
And you're getting Andy Dalton for $10 million a year.
Instead.
For no picks.
Right. Whoopsies. I've got some feedback there trying to pull that up. These teams, I'm sitting there thinking about the Panthers as well, Zach. You get these ideas that you're going to get these quarterbacks, and it's just not realistic. Like, Hunter sat here for weeks and weeks and weeks. Like, what are we going to do? Are the Redskins going to get a new quarterback? Who are they going to get? And it ends up being Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what they had planned or had wanted this whole time?
Probably not, but Fitzpatrick on that lineup probably be pretty good.
Right. And it's not bad, but again, everyone's had delusions of grandeur. Panthers fans think they're getting Deshaun Watson. Now, they might not. They don't have near the
Draft
capital bullets that whatever you could call it, that the Jets have. So it looks based on what Miami's done, Zach, is they're all in on Tua. Mm-hmm. They signed Jacoby Brissett yesterday to be the backup. So it looks to me they're all in on that. So with that said, it looks like it's down to Jets and Panthers really for if Deshaun Watson is going to get traded.
I think the 49ers might be in the mix a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what the big side thing is with it.
Okay.
But it all goes down to are they going to go off Garoppolo?
Well, let's see. Grading free agent signings and trades. Looking at some of the NFL stuff. Watson's being sued for sexual harassment with a masseuse. Patriots signed a bunch of people. Cam Newton returns. How you feel about that?
I was shocked.
They won 7 games last year. Just off the top of your head, Zach, how many games do they win this year?
They'll be in the same range, 7 or 8.
I'm thinking 8 or 9.
They spent
what are they going to do?
They spent like $250 million this past week in free agency.
Right, and they needed help.
Defense.
Cam needed help. And
it was all defense.
Well, no, they got two tight ends.
They did. They did get tight end and a tackle receiver. Or something, I think.
And I'm thinking, again, realistically, are they better than the Bills?
No.
Dolphins?
Possibly.
Remember Fitzpatrick beat them in Foxborough last year.
They always have trouble. Even when had Brady had trouble with the Dolphins.
I just so their defense last year. We'll bring that up. I'll tell you what. Let's bring that up. And they basically bring 7 or 8 people opted out. 3 or 4 of them were returned. Some of them weren't really that big of names or anything, but the Patriots had a good defense last year. I think they were top 5. I want to make sure
they were at least half the year.
Or somebody will complain about that if I'm not exactly right. They ended up being looks like 7th, Zach, in the scoring defense, 22 points a game.
Yeah.
Let's say they get better and get to 20. Well, then again, is Cam Newton going to get you 20 points a game? And the same thing with the Cowboys fans. What's weird to me is they're like talking Super Bowl. Well, what's the difference between this year and next year?
All the other
or the year and then the year before that.
Dak.
And the year before that. He's got 1 playoff win, Zach. I mean, the kid for the Rams has as many playoff wins as he does. He's got 1. Tim Tebow's got 1 playoff win. And for Dallas fans, like think about it. They gave the quarterback $40 million basically a year, and that's supposed to make your better team a Super Bowl contender? Like, what's the difference? And the Andy Dalton hate, I don't get. He's good. Same thing. I would put him in the Fitzpatrick range, but I think people in Hunter and I went on the Wednesday show WLON. I think people are so ingratiated in this idea that you have to have a superstar quarterback or you can't win, and that's just not. It's just not true. And looking at Brady, in fact, the playoffs he had this year, Zach, did he play well?
No, I mean he very similar on a better level than Peyton was for Denver.
Right.
But on a better level, he played better than Peyton did in Denver. But it's the same thing. He's there to manage the team and not make a mistake.
Now they had a good offense, and when you don't turn the ball over and you got a good defense, you got a chance to win games. That's what Belichick's looking at Cam for. Cam's not a big turnover guy for the most part, but last year he didn't do well. Tampa was 8th in defense, 0.1 points away from New England. So here's the point as far as that goes, Zach, is, we talk about this all the time. Now, 50 of 55 Super Bowls have been won by a top 12 defense. 50 of 55. And Matt was talking to Matt on the show a couple weeks ago. He was making the point that, well, Brady's won 7 of 20. And I said, that's a good percentage. It's 35%? But what's 50 of 55%? What's the percentage on that? 90-something?
Pretty much.
So, you kind of, I think you can win a Super Bowl with Andy Dalton. Trent Dilfer can win a Super Bowl. Anybody can. Brad Johnson can win a Super Bowl. This year's Brady. Here's his game, Zach. If I told you coming into the season, and his best game was probably against the best defense he played. How about Washington? He put up 381 yards and 2 touchdowns on Washington in round 1. How about round 2, 199?
Yep.
2 touchdowns, and here's the key, 0 interceptions against the Saints. In round 3 against the Packers, he threw 3 picks.
Yep.
And still won by 5. His defense only gave up 26 points to Aaron Rodgers. I don't know how many picks Aaron Rodgers threw. But Brady threw 3 picks in the NFC Championship game and made the Super Bowl. Like, so that's so weird when people think, well, can you win a Super Bowl with this guy? Or can this guy take you there? I think everybody's on this thing where only the quarterbacks take you there or get you there. But it's the defenses that get you there and win it. And the quarterbacks, to me, are more along for the ride in the fact of you got to make plays. They had to score 31, 31, 30. They scored 30. Listen to this, 31, 30, 31, 31.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get 30 points.
Yep.
That's fine, but your defense has got to be decent
Give
too.
up under 25.
And the defense did.
I think it's 22.
It was 23, 20, 26, and 9 is what the defense gave up in the postseason. So, 15, 18, it's right 19 points a game is what the defense gave up.
Really good.
Better than in the regular season, they gave up 22.
Yeah. That 9 helped out a bunch. Who was that against? The Washington?
That's the Super Bowl. I guess
Was it?
The Chiefs.
Oh, wow. I knew that. Wow, and that's impressive.
Right.
That's against that offense?
How many people betted that the Chiefs would get 9?
Nobody would have given that money.
Tom's last 2 Super Bowls, Zach, the defenses gave up a combined 12 points.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
2 really good offenses.
Against the Rams and the Chiefs, Tom's last 2 defenses that he won a Super Bowl with gave up a grand total of 12 points. Gronk had 12 points in this past Super Bowl alone. So, Bears fans, Andy Dalton is not going to cause you to lose it. He's pretty decent. I, as someone wearing Tar Heel gear, both of us here, we would both recommend you not have a Tar Heel quarterback at your helm.
Especially Trubisky.
So we're not saying that, I'll say I think Andy Dalton's better than Trubisky. Just watching workout videos of Andy Dalton, he's accurate as all get out. Zach, his first 5 years in the league, he won 10 games. I'm going to make sure on that. I know he had a winning record first 5. And as far as the Bears go, he's not a big turnover guy. He won 9 games his first year, then 10, 11, 10, 10. First 5 years winning seasons. He's got a grand total of 70. He's 74 and 66 overall in 2. 62% completion percentage. Now, Zach, last year, if you remember, the Cowboys were 1-3 when Dak got hurt. That one win was the Falcons.
Can't recover on
Not on onside kick. So, if you, without saying any past or words, and I come to you, Zach, say, hey, your quarterback last year was 1-3. The only win he had was when the other team didn't jump on an onside kick. Also, his leg fell off from his ankle fell off. His foot fell off his leg, basically.
That's a big unknown.
Your defense was ranked here. We've got it right here. Might as well while I pull it up. Cowboys defense last year was ranked 28th overall in defense, giving up 29 points a game. For perspective, the Redskins last year, Washington football team last year, gave up 20 points a game. That's 9 points a game. I think we looked at it was 140-some points.
For the year.
The Cowboys gave up more than Washington.
Yeah, their defense is horrible.
I mean, just think about it. Going into the game, Andy Dalton had to score 10 more points in every game than Alex Smith did or whoever was quarterbacking Washington based on just their defense alone. And people don't take that into account on these things. Tom Brady, in the Super Bowl, Zach, he could have thrown 2 touchdowns and won. He could have thrown 2 touchdowns and threw an incomplete pass every pass the rest of the game and still won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that's how like the old Andre Iguodala MVP thing against LeBron, when Steph had better numbers in the regular season in which he won the MVP, and they gave it to Iguodala, who scored 7, I think it was like 11 or something points in the series, and gave up 35 a game to LeBron. 35. But what I'm trying to get to is these teams worrying about their quarterbacks. I think you should be more worried about how turnover prone they are, Zach, than are they going to throw for 350 yards. What has Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees done the past 10 years, Super Bowl wise?
It won
Nothing.
10 or nothing. I think Aaron Rodgers won 08. I mean,
It's 09 and 10. It's 09 and 10.
Drew won it like 07.
But in the past 10, again, what I'm saying is the past 10 years, it hasn't added up at all, has it?
No.
So, looking at the teams early on, let's go by division, see what you think. Give me your early. Where's my notepads? NFC. We're going to go division champs. People hide my notepads.
Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky still on the roster for the Bears. That's very interesting.
I thought Foles went back to Philly.
No.
Was I not correct on that?
No, that was a rumor if they got the trade back and forth, if they got the guy that went to Indianapolis, Wentz. So they've got 3 quarterbacks sitting on the roster. I think Trubisky. I think Trubisky gets moved and Foles stays.
Anybody coming to Carolina, Zach?
They've made a lot of cap space for putting a quarterback in there, but they've been wishy-washy. They first said they wasn't on Teddy Bridgewater, and then they come out and said everything was good with him. So I don't know.
I think they're doing they're trying to get. I think they're trying to get Watson, and I think the Texans are messing with them because they want the Jets pick, obviously, and Sam. Would you rather have the one in Sam Darnold
Absolutely.
than anything the Panthers can offer you?
Unless they how much they covet CMC. If I was the Panthers, I want off that salary.
Yeah, but the Texans don't want anything to do with it. They're over the cap.
Yeah,
so they don't want anything to do with that at all. I don't think there's nothing there for the Texans to worry about. All right, let's go real quick.
Division.
Zach's quick division champions for next year.
Yeah.
AFC East.
Bills.
AFC North.
That's always a tough one. That's Titans.
No, you're in the South. Wrong. Steelers, Ravens, Browns, and Bengals. Steelers, Ravens, Browns, and Bengals. They went Steelers 12-4. Ravens and Browns won 11
I think Ravens
games.
will be the. I mean, I think Steelers will be the third of all them. It's between the Browns and the Ravens, and I'm gonna go with the Ravens just because of consistency.
All right. I'm going
NFC.
Pittsburgh every year that Ben Roethlisberger is.
I don't think he's going to be there, but I might be wrong. That's why I didn't.
him.
Did they? I didn't see that.
Yeah, they re-signed him.
I did
back.
not see that. I thought they were going to get off of him.
No, he's back. I think as long as he's there, they win the division every year. He's there. South Titans keep they got Tannehill. Indianapolis got Carson Wentz. Houston sitting there. We're 4-12 last year. Got rid of everybody. Still got Deshaun Watson. Jacksonville's going to be picking number 1 overall.
I don't see any way. I think Titans will be there
again.
Yeah.
Colts 11-5 going from Phillip Rivers.
That's what bothers me.
To Wentz. Carson Wentz.
And then no Jacoby Brissett. Brissett, was he there last year as a backup?
Mm-hmm.
Without him being there to back up, Wentz is going to get hurt.
Is that where you're going with it?
I just believe that. He hadn't played a full year yet.
Yeah. I'll go Tennessee right now.
I just don't trust Carson Wentz.
All right, out west, Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, and Broncos.
Yeah, Chiefs. You can write that one in.
Yeah, you got to right now at this point.
Chargers are on the uptick. They got a good quarterback.
The other teams all gave up over 400 points last year.
Raiders are. Gruden's done a lot better than anybody thought he would.
I thought he would do fine.
I did too. I thought he was.
I don't.
You know, he's a player's coach.
I think a problem a lot of people have, Zach, and the NBA is a great example of this, is that, say, like Borrego. How do you know if he's a good coach with no talent? And then let's say you drafted perfect for 3 years in the NBA. Let's say 4 years. Heck, let's say 5. You drafted a starter in the first round 5 years in a row. You're still probably 2-3 years away from a championship, or even if you don't. What if you draft good and hit them all, but you still don't have LeBron James or Kevin Durant or Steph Curry on your roster? So you could go 5-10 years of drafting perfectly, have a great teams, compete, second, third, fourth seeds, whatever, and it doesn't matter if you don't. The Jimmies and the Joes are better, are more important than the X's and the O's. I just wonder about that. So what I'm saying is, like, Gruden, he signed that 10-year deal. You've got to be able to clean house and do it right the first few years, and Rule got a 7-year deal, and I really. Honest to goodness, the one thing I've liked about Matt Rule more than anything is he drafted 7 defenders last year.
Yep.
I've been wanting coaches, anyone to do that for years. You come in, it's the most simplest thing to me, Zach. You come into the draft, you look at your offense. My offense is ranked 10th. My defense is 25th. Let's draft 7 defenders. And what he did last year, I did pretty good. All right, NFC East. Washington and the Fitzmagics.
Yeah.
Giants and a Duke quarterback. Again, for you Bears fans, no Duke, no Tar Heel quarterbacks. This is football, not basketball.
I think Redskins.
The Dallas Daks.
They're horrible. Their defense is their Achilles heel. They can't win. I mean, Zeke is eating.
Yeah.
And we don't know. I mean, Dak is not going to come in and light it up his first couple games. He just completely had his foot completely reconstructed. Excuse me.
Eagles with Jalen Hurts.
I don't see that happening.
Now, here's the question. Who'd you say you was picking to win?
Washington. I like Fitzmagic.
How many wins?
9.
I was going to say 8.
It's right there on the, yeah. The defense is going to keep him in every game. Fitzmagic can light it up. I ain't worried about that. He's the journeyman king.
The days his defense has a good day, they'll probably win against the bad teams, but it might be a toss up and good. He'll lose in the playoffs and 2 picks or something like that. Are the Packers the favorite in the North right now with
Vikings?
You got Andy Dalton,
Detroit's
Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and like I said, they'll win it unless something happens to Rodgers.
Rodgers has never not had 10 wins in a season, I think.
That's pretty impressive
if he's there.
But again, that's like being in the AFC East. I mean, you should win.
If you got Detroit on your schedule twice a year,
right?
In your career,
Vikings have been iffy, every other year. And then who's the other team? The Bears. Oh, the Bears is tough. I don't know.
Rodgers had 1 losing season in his career when he went. Nope. I'm going to back it up 2. Aaron Rodgers had 2 losing seasons in his career with 10 or more starts. The first year he started 10 the whole season, he went 6-10.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 years ago they went 6-9-1. So he's had 2 bad seasons. I don't think. Let me go back to Big Ben. I don't think he's ever had a losing season. I think no. Ben had 1. He went 7-8 one year. And then who was the other one we was just talking about?
Bears.
Yeah, there's another quarterback I was thinking about. Anyway, Vikings give up 475 points last year. Their defense has disappeared since they were in the playoffs a couple years ago. And that's the one thing. Once you do get a good defense, that after 2 or 3 years, Zach, all the good players cash in, cash out, and end up someplace else.
Yeah.
So, NFC West. Currently, Seahawks have Russell Wilson. Rams have Matt Stafford. Arizona's got Kyler Murray and J.J. Watt. San Francisco's got Garoppolo and the rest of the guys. Now, here's a neat stat on all 4 teams in that division. They all gave up under 400 points, so all good defenses. San Francisco gave up 390 points, Zach, and went 6-10. I'm going to try to find somebody else that gave up that many. How about, for an example, Tennessee gave up 45 more points than San Francisco did and went 11-5. Tennessee gave up almost 50 more points.
Knowing that they're not going to score is,
Right.
You wouldn't think anyway.
Almost 50 more points Tennessee scored than or gave up than San Francisco, and had 11-5 record, and San Francisco was 6-10. All right, who do you got out west?
I think they're all almost equal. Is that fair to say?
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's a crapshoot.
Seahawks 12-4, Rams 10, Cardinals 8, San Francisco 6.
I think San Francisco's better this year. I think Arizona's going to be better this year. I think Seattle's going to be a little bit worse, and I think the Rams are going to stay the same. So I'm just going to say the Rams because of Stafford.
That goes Rams. I'll stick with Russell Wilson and Seattle on that. In the South, no Drew Brees. Matt Ryan in Atlanta is probably the secret weapon. Carolina or Terrific Tom?
That's a no-brainer.
Terrific Tom?
Yep.
All right, Zach. So let's talk about the NFC South real quick before we move on, or the NFC real quick before we move on. In the NFC, Green Bay, the Saints, Tampa, Seattle, and the Rams. 5 teams last year had 10 or more wins, okay? Rams got rid of their quarterback. Seattle's been in discussions with getting rid of theirs. New Orleans pretty much ran their quarterback out of town.
They had a cap problem.
Aaron Rodgers is not happy in Green Bay.
And
the only one in a solid, happy situation is the 43-year-old quarterback on a 4-year deal.
I was going to say, I don't know if you saw that or not, but he did sign a 4-year deal. And you know what? I think he can play it.
He can.
Did you see? As
long as you protect him, he can.
He's fine. He can sit back there and throw balls all day long.
Zach, this is the whole, this is the whole Dan Marino.
Yep, that's the guy I was thinking in my head.
Like the old flamethrowers, like the Nolan Ryans.
It's
your
still
arm
gonna be there.
doesn't go away. It's the legs, the feet, the head, the neck, and the back. Like Romo could still throw a football 80 yards. His back, he probably shouldn't be out there for his back. He's got kids and stuff. Drew Brees does have kids. He wants to play baseball with him, coach, teach, whatever. How long do you do it? How long do you every year do you take a chance on winning the Super Bowl? I've picked him every year the past 3 or 4 years to make it. I think he's the best thrower, passer of the football I've ever seen. And what I mean by that, if whatever yard line I'm on or whatever play you call, if I want somebody to complete a pass, I would choose him. Brady would be right there with him, and Joe Montana.
Aikman was good at putting accuracy, but I wouldn't take him over those guys. I'm just saying.
Aikman's biggest thing was his, I hate to say that, it was Emmitt because of the play action. He got Irvin, and everybody was in man coverage, put it that way. And if you're an accurate quarterback, you're going to tear it up.
Great tight end.
So Breeze, Zach, he was so good they would practice throwing bad passes. So they showed him and Michael Thomas, they purposely threw passes at his ankles. So I know I can hit you in the chest, but what happens when I'm getting pressured? And so Drew Brees, they would practice throwing bad passes. Who's got time in the energy? I'm so good, I'm so accurate. Let's just practice throwing bad passes.
One thing that impresses me about Drew Brees is his height. If you watch him throw, he takes the snap, he goes back, and the way his posture has to be to see over the offensive line. Mm-hmm. That's impressive to me to be able to do that, be that accurate, because he's 6 foot, 6'1", maybe. I don't think he's 6'1". I'll
say this: as far as the seeing over the line thing is,
it's got to do with 3-step, 7-step drop.
Well, I think it's right. The threes are shorter because you're closer to the line. I think it's an overrated, underrated thing. Yes and no. The big guys tend to be pretty decent, but I think that's got a lot to do with the arm strength more than the eyes. Because I mean, just what are we arguing about? So you're arguing eye level, really, like height,
Visibility.
right? People's got bigger foreheads than other people. So I wish we would measure people by eye height. You know what I mean? So, and then other people's got weird hair, and where do you measure and whatnot? But the eye height. So if his eyes are at 6, or so if his head's at 6 foot, his eyes are at 5'9". No matter how hard he tries or stands on his tiptoes, most linemen are what, 6'5"? He's not going to see over them. Average quarterback 6'3", 6'4". They're not seeing over them. Like, there's not many that big guys are actually seeing over the line. More often than not, Zach, you're throwing in lanes because they move. So, like, it's tough. So when you're in practice, you go 1, 2, 3, throw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm throwing. Everybody's wide open. There's no pressure. But in the game, Zach, you'll go 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're ready to throw. Well, if the receiver's not open yet,
You got to go through your check down.
well, then the second thing is, well, what if one of your linemen's already been beat, or if there's a free blitzer? So to me, a lot of things is footwork in the pocket. To where what I thought makes Brady so great is when you'll see him, and Rodgers gets out of the pocket really good, but Brady and Breeze will step up in it.
They step up.
You have to step up in it because the guys are going by you, and you find those holes to throw it in. And I think a lot of times you're looking in zones, timing more than you are height over it. But I understand that people want to talk about it. I'm not as Kyler Murray. Now I don't believe he's 6 foot tall. They ain't lied about that.
Oh, he ain't 6 foot tall.
But I don't think it's as a big a deal as people make it out to be. I don't think it hinders more than I'm more interested in arm strength is where I'm getting at on any of that because most of the time, Zach, those guys that are short aren't they more accurate anyway?
Yeah, and I was thinking about, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this. Just say it's my lineman. If somebody goes, 20 yards down the field, I go by and see their head. But if I'm just, if I'm 3 inches taller, I might have a little bit more vantage point but it might not be that big of a deal. At
the speed they're moving, too. Because, again, a lot of it is, like, Zach, they know what route they're running.
Yeah.
That's the biggest key. As long as I know what route you're running, I don't have to see you.
Yeah, as long as you run
until
your route
I'm
right.
ready to throw the ball. Because most of the time, I was more concerned. You got to get your feet right because if your feet aren't right at the exact same time a guy's open, then we're all missing.
And the other thing about Drew Brees, and I'll even bring up Peyton Manning on this. I remember with Drew Brees because him and Kuechly would go back and forth. It's talking about you got two quarterbacks. You got your defensive quarterback, you got your offensive quarterback.
Right.
You're what Kuechly at the time was watching their offense and calling plays based on what they're doing. And the offensive quarterback's doing the same thing. He's looking around and knowing their tendencies and saying, okay, this guy's here, this guy's here, this guy's here. They're in cover two.
Right. You got your beaters.
Yeah.
So, like, what they'll do a lot of times, Zach, in practice is that you'll call a play and you get a line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And if you see cover two or whatever, you relate to receivers, there might be a change in your route just based on that. So if I call a route and you're supposed to run a fly and I look out and we say cover two or whatever, give my signal, change it up or whatever, they know based on that. And that
opens up your spot where he can come in and say, you're in cover two. I need to get the ball over here in the flat, out in the corner because that's the open spot. Make a call, throw it there, and that helps out too.
So 12 times, Zach, a quarterback threw for 5,000 yards in NFL history. Drew Brees has 5 of them. The other 7 only happened one time for each person. Nobody has 2.
That's pretty interesting. But and the one thing I will say about Drew Brees too is he got the pairings matter, like coach and quarterback. He got the best quarterback coach that he could have got for himself.
It's just gonna be weird hearing people say dink and dunk with Drew Brees, and I'm like, he's got 5,000 yard seasons.
And when you got Kamara, why wouldn't you want to dunk it to Kamara?
The rest of the NFL has 7. Think about that. He has 5.
Yeah,
that's 10. 5. The rest has 7.
Yeah, he's be interesting. He's going to go down as way up there on the
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 straight 30 touchdown seasons.
And I do believe that they should have had one more Super Bowl win. At least,
Well, they got
at
robbed
least an
the last-
appearance.
the
At
last
least an
few-
appearance.
Last few years, they got robbed.
I hated that because
But think about it, Zach. In the last 10 years, Aaron Rodgers and Breeze not only have won one, they ain't even been back.
Yeah.
Like we talk, those are the best two quarterbacks every year in the NFC for the past 10 years. Haven't even been back. Brady comes over here for 1 year, wins 4, and wins the Super
goes
Bowl,
back
and knocks them both out,
it goes back to what
making one to retire.
it goes back to what I count more than anything, and that's something you can't teach. That is, it's a winner.
Right.
Like, he come from Michigan, was undrafted. Everybody's seen the picture of him in his the boxer shorts when he's standing there at the combine.
Right.
He looks like nobody would
He
pick him.
couldn't
He'd be standing on the sideline forever.
He couldn't start for App State.
Like, he'd been standing on the sideline forever if he was doing pickup game. And he comes in and he's got that same thing Jordan did in his mind. That don't piss me off or I'm going to destroy you. You know?
So in football, I used to look at this when we were on near murals up at App. I was like, I was on such a tear of fire. I was like, well, y'all make one stop on defense, we'll win. I'm like, I don't think we're gonna get. I was just on such a tear that like, give me 2, I guarantee y'all win. Give me 2 stops, I guarantee you'll win. 1, it'll be close. But like, sometimes that's all you in football. Like with Brady, he can't affect the defense like Jordan or LeBron or somebody could. So he's, every time I get the ball, I got to score. I get the ball, I got to score. And there's nothing he can do on defense. That's what's weird about the sport. All right. Over in the NBA real quick. I haven't read this story. I could care less. LaMelo not excited.
Yeah, I noticed
What does that
today.
mean?
Like,
What does that even mean? Who cares?
I just got one. This it drives me crazy. Like, the Hornets have not had an ESPN headline in how long?
4 or 5, 10 years.
And this year, it's every time you go on ESPN, it's something about LaMelo. And I mean, it's probably a good thing for the Hornets. And you know what? I can't honestly say he's played bad since they inserted him in the starting lineup. But I just wish of us getting the best player we could have ever got. Why did it have to be the guy that I hate?
Not only, I know. Well, here's the thing.
I think it's because of his dad. I mean,
there's a lot of confusion over what have I give you the NBA rookie scoring thing? Mm-hmm. Like, if this was in the past 20 years, Zach, he would rank about 50th in scoring. So, like, again, being ahead of this class, it might not mean much. Last year, Zion Williamson was 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting, and he's averaging 25 a game this year.
We're not getting. I mean,
he's not a 25-point scorer, and that's what the one thing that everybody needs to understand is that, hey, maybe the reason they're winning is because Gordon Hayward. Hey, maybe the reason they're winning is because Terry Rozier is playing more team ball than Kemba Walker ever played in his life.
Gordon Hayward is an excellent pickup for us. When we got that, I don't care that we overpaid him.
No.
It's because we're not getting a free agent, number one, unless you change the team around. Number two, he can stay on that wing all day long and knock down. That's all we need him for. We just need him to knock down 3.
So what was weird about what you're saying about the, overpaying him is that for Charlotte, if he's the 3rd leading scorer on a team, then yeah, you're overpaying him. But if he's the number 1 leading scorer on your team and you don't have a leading scorer, then you're not overpaying him. And would you rather pay Gordon Hayward $5 extra million a year or pay Biyombo
$15 million,
right,
to set the pine? Like,
so at this second, Zach, Charlotte is 1 game out of the 4 spot.
It's pretty dang impressive.
Think about this. They're half a game ahead of Boston now.
That's unbelievable.
We won the Terry Rozier
trade
for Kemba Walker.
And that's unbelievable. Because nobody thought we would have.
No.
Nobody thought we... And we did in the first year. But the guy can shoot lights out.
What's maddening about this is everybody's going to try to talk about it's, LaMelo making them the team better, whatever, as a rookie, whatever. It's Gordon Hayward.
I agree.
For 5 to 10 years, Have I not been saying
We need a
need a
wing.
scoring wing?
I agree.
We need a scoring wing. We need a scoring wing. And we
Because-
get Miles Bridges, MKG, junk. We get a scoring wing. Holy crap. We're about 500 and a lot better now.
And because people don't understand how spacing changes a game. When you don't have to worry about people on the wing, you can settle up in the post down there. And now he can knock down. He's going to be good for us even if he's not that healthy, because you talking about throwing the football, shooters can still shoot.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that. I won him the first time that we missed him and he went back to Utah.
Mm-hmm.
I hated we lost him on that one. But I don't dislike Terry Rozier. I tell you what I would like to see, and I don't think we've got a chance in the world now, is because the Knicks are playing so good, was to get trying to think of their forward's name now.
Julius Randle?
Yeah. I wanted to do straight up, or even give him 2 for him, because I think we could use that down below. And
So here's what's interesting about the Hornets. They're one game away from the 4th spot, but they're 3 games away from the 13th spot.
yeah, they're log jammed. You
So
know,
the East from 5, I would say Miami. So Miami started off bad because Jimmy Butler wasn't there. And now that he's back, they've went on a tear and been one of the best teams in the
where
NBA.
are they at now?
They're at 22-18.
So what are they? 3?
They're 4. They're at 4.
So see, that's a bad matchup for us.
Right.
If we go into 4 or 5 in the playoffs, we're screwed.
We're not going to finish there.
No, we'll probably finish 7 or 8, and then that's going to put us
In the tournament.
I would rather play.
There's a play-in tournament. Do you know that now?
I did not know that.
You ready for the insanity of the
don't. I probably
stupidness?
don't.
You're not going to like this.
I'm
at
probably
all.
going to hate it.
You are. I know you are. The 7 and 8 seeds will play a 1-game playoff for the 7 seed.
The other team's going to buy the first 1
Hold
and
on.
2.
No. The 7 and 8 seed will play for the 7th seed. The loser of that game will play the winner of the 9 and 10 seed
That's horrible.
for the 8 seed.
That's dumb.
So the 7 and 8 seed make it, which they know they're going to get probably beat down by the 1 and 2 anyway. Then
So
they
you're
have
going
to
to throw
play
in the 9 and 10. It's really going to get beat down if they
so
slip
why
in.
would the 9 and 10 even? Why would they rather be in the playoffs against
in
the
the lottery.
1 than in the lottery?
That's dumb.
Right? And if you got a lottery protected pick, you don't want to mess that up and make the playoffs. So what if you got a lottery protected pick, Zach, and you're sitting there and you can either make the playoffs and play the Sixers in round 1 or not, or just tank a game? Like, this is stupid. At what point did we ever think, you know what? We need to play in for the 7 and 8 seed.
Did they take that from March Madness?
Yeah, something.
Is that not really similar to
slash baseball?
You know what's really bad playoff basketball to see who gets into the tournament?
Slash baseball and their play-ins. After
Is it a
170.
1 game?
Yes.
That's horrible. I don't like it at all. I would rather say, how could I say this? I don't even know if it logistically work. Let the 7 and 8 play each other. Give the teams in the first to bye.
Give
And then-
the overall one a bye.
One, maybe, yeah, if that would work out.
Either way,
I think that's fair because that would make you want to play for that one even harder.
I don't think it's broke. What you could do is just take one away.
One team away.
Yeah, just take the 8 seed away.
I mean, they ain't going to win a record anyway. Usually
Right,
the
right.
4-5 is right 5,500, maybe 4 games over.
About a week and a half ago, there was only 3 teams over 500 in the East. Now it's 6. Out west, there's 10 teams over 500. No, 8 teams over 500. But, right. Again, you're making the playoff. When you have 8 teams in the playoffs, you're going to have somebody who's at or below 500. Because you're having more. You have more than
And
half.
that's a bad basketball
Right.
team.
You have more than half the league. Right.
I mean, and let's just throw this out there while we're talking about, teams and versus back in the day and stuff like that. This Brooklyn Nets team that's loaded. Their record is not great. Like,
They're second in the East, 27-13.
they lost 13 games and they only played 40. Like, they're on pace to lose 26.
Now, we'll give you this.
A lot of them hadn't played all the time.
Right. The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th seeds, Nets, Bucks, and Heat, looking at this, folks, have all went 9-1 in their last 10 games.
That's impressive. That would be more what I would say they should be than what their overall record.
And the number 1 team went 8-2, Philadelphia. Hornets 7-3, Hawks 7-3.
Pretty good for the Hornets.
The Hornets and Hawks going 7-3 in the last 10 games, jumped up from the 8 and 10 seeds up into 5 and 7 right now.
And the thing with the Hornets,
Hawks are at 500 now.
we're putting in. This is a new team kind of put together. They're learning how to play together, and that might be a truer number of how good they really are together. Versus the overall, I hope so.
So what Zach was talking about earlier about, how many highlights have you ever in the past 10 years, Zach, how many Hornets highlights have you seen, period?
I don't even remember one.
Like,
I mean, other than Kemba.
Like a dunk or a Kemba play, yeah.
I mean, they might have threw him in every now and then, but
Now, did you ever see highlights of the third leading scorer of the Charlotte Hornets?
the headlines.
Right, in the headlines. In the history of the Charlotte Hornets and Bobcats.
They're putting him in the LeBron conversation. LaMelo is not happy about playing LeBron for the first time. Does LeBron give a crap if LaMelo ball?
Fuck no.
He's probably like,
no.
I really don't care. I'm like 40 years old.
No.
And he's not even on my radar. That was hilarious to me.
That's the old games where when Jordan used to get
With Kobe?
No, when Jordan would be like, so Pat Burrell
Oh yeah,
Burrell or somebody
supposedly
Scott
could
Burrell,
guard him because he's a good
and
defender. He
say
destroys him.
This guy guards Jordan, and he's like,
Oh, you're done. You're doomed.
here's 40.
Yeah, you're doomed. Please tell
All right, so let me give you some. Let's say pros and cons. Let's see what's the best worst case on LaMelo. Like to me, and I don't care what
I'm
anybody
gonna say
says.
15, 5, and 5.
Okay,
Is his? And I think that his. I think that'll be his career numbers.
okay, and that's what he's getting now,
Is it?
pretty much. I will. Let me get to that. I'm gonna pull up two more things. Let me hit some couple buttons here. I didn't mean to
Because
pull
he's
him.
streaky. One game he might pop 35. Next game he might pop 9.
Well, one. He's not popping 30 like that every game. I think he's done it twice. What's his name? LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, and like I said, he can assist. He can rebound. He's big.
The rebounding thing is what, and you're gonna. I don't see what you think about this. I tell you, it actually bothers me. Is they got him listed at 6'6".
I thought he was taller than that, but maybe not.
Basketball Reference got him listed at 6'6". He said before the season he's 6'8". So again, which part of his hair are we measuring?
Right, because I thought he was in the 6'7", 6'8" range.
Let's say 6'7" to be safe. Let's just go with that for this discussion. So, if he's the point guard, Zach,
Mm-hmm.
and he's guarding the other team's point guard or shooting guard, who the hell is he boxing out and getting 6 rebounds against? / who's he guarding?
Right.
If you're getting 6 rebounds at the point guard position, Russell Westbrook and guys, 10 rebounds, who are you guarding in today's NBA basketball?
Sorry, guys. He's got to see this headline. That is.
I didn't know he was a free agent.
I didn't either.
AJ Green expected to sign with Arizona Cardinals.
Might change my
NFC West pick.
him and
DeAndre Hopkins and a midget quarterback.
That's a big pickup.
And an Ewok.
It's a big pickup. Anyway,
Yeah, it is.
that's a huge pickup.
We'll be
I
talking
didn't
about
know.
that.
I didn't even think he was. Anyway, go ahead.
We'll be talking about that tomorrow.
All
right,
but yeah,
LaMelo-
he's guarding. I mean, he should be guarding. If he's a point guard, he should be guarding 6'1", 6'2" guys, boxing out 6'1", 6'2" guys. He should be a good
point
defender.
My point is, I don't think he's guarding anybody if he's getting rebounds like this. He's not down there boxing people out like Dennis Rodman getting 6 boards. I think he's getting long boards / he's not guarding anybody to be. Again, if you're supposed to be guarding the shooting guard, how many shooting guards in today's NBA are down near the blocks getting rebounds? None.
Yeah, and he got.
So
That was Borrego's problem with him is he didn't like to put him in because he didn't like to play
in the
defense.
So he's averaging 16, 6, and 6. Okay. Lonzo Ball.
I think LaMelo's a little better than Lonzo.
First year, Lonzo went 10, 7, and 7.
And Skip Bayless loved him.
Then went 10, 5, and 5, 12, 7, and 6, 14, 6, and 4. LaMelo this year, 16, 6, and 6. Do you see him jumping up to a 25-point game score?
I don't see that happening.
I don't either.
I think he could knock a couple more assists down and maybe a couple more rebounds, possibly. But I don't see he's not like you can tell if it's a shooter or not. He's not a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
He can shoot the ball. He's just not a shooter.
Here's my comparison. See what you think. Right-handed Jalen Rose.
Yeah.
6'7", point guard.
And he's not a bad player.
No. But that's what I mean. Like when you compare someone and say like Jalen Rose, people take it as an insult. Like you're insulting Lonzo Ball or LaMelo Ball. Not everybody is Michael Jordan, guys. We have to stop this mess.
Yeah.
Not everybody's LeBron. Not everybody's Durant. Not everybody's KD or Steve Nash or Allen Iverson. You are who you are. And when we compare you to, well, let's look at Jalen Rose. He's 6'7". Here's some of his better years. 26-5, 24-4, 18-5-5, 24-5-4.
Probably all with Indiana.
22-5-4. Like 15-5-4. Are those not what, if best case scenario, what you would think you would get from Ball?
And
so let's say that. Again, if you do that, he's still not.
He's not a superstar.
A superstar.
But he's a star.
Right. A 25-point a game is a superstar. A perennial all-star is a superstar. If he gets an all-star based on voting as opposed to being put in there, that's totally different. That's the old.
Well, they don't vote for him anymore. They get picked.
Yeah,
so he's not getting picked.
I don't know how they do that.
He's not getting. Who's he going to start over?
I don't know.
You throw all the guards that's in the NBA now, like especially in the East, we ain't getting over in Kyrie and Harden.
So what do you think about the Jalen Rose comparison?
I think it's good. And like I said, Jalen's a good player. Like he's one of my favorite. I liked watching Jalen Rose. I hated him when he was in Michigan, but I liked the way he played. He's a slasher, shoot, not that great. Pass the ball, rebound. It's good. He's 6'9", I believe.
This is the tweet of the day I'm going to give for Zach while we're on basketball. This is just it was on a thread, and this is one of the guys' comments, and this is when I was like, today's world, I don't even know if I want to live in it anymore.
Oh my!
I wish you got Zach's face. See if I can get it on the screen.
It's blurry.
See if the camera
Stockton not even better than J.J. Barea for everybody that can't read. I remember that'll be embedded into my memory. How much disrespectful can you be to one of the greatest point guards of all time?
So that they're online arguing the whole old guys, new guys thing and everything. It's like, did Steve Nash not win an MVP like 5 years ago? To back-to-back MVPs.
He was nasty.
That's what people don't get. Like
nasty.
Whatever Steve Nash was, that's John Stockton. But John was probably a better defender
and not the
all-time steals leader, and he was a junkyard dog.
He was not the.
He was a dog.
He was not the primary player on his team,
right?
But he's still a dog. He didn't even want to do the Jordan documentary.
No, he Stockton isn't.
And he still rocked the old pants.
He's different. That's what. That I think one of the big arguments this week, and it is a good one. But it was Bird and Magic versus Durant, LeBron.
I think I saw a little bit of that.
And I would probably take Durant, LeBron because one, Magic's more set up for a 5-man game, and I personally believe that Kevin Durant's the best scorer this world has ever seen. In all the packages, he's almost like if you put Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Jordan together, you got Durant. And the bad thing about Durant is, Zach, he's the 4th all-time leading scorer, and he's played with 4 of the biggest ball hogs in the history of basketball.
I think the only argument I would have is, this is my personal opinion about Durant and LeBron, they do not have an alpha mentality, either one of them, and Bird and Magic did. That I think that would factor into it, where they're just going to come on the court and be like, it's just in their prime. They're like, me and you are going up against these two.
Right.
They're going to carry that bravado a little bit. Where
Magic
I don't think
he's going to talk a lot. You're
Magic's
right,
not. Well, Magic wasn't scared of Jordan.
No, Magic. Yeah, Magic.
So he's going to be like, who are you? If he's in his prime,
I really like Bird, but Kevin
love
Durant
Bird.
to me is just he's a different dude. Have you seen the video of him and Steve Nash working on post moves or the pictures and how much bigger just a person he is? It's insane how tall he is. I think everybody's been accusing him of lying this whole time about his height. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
He's ridiculously long. The thing that bothers me the most about him is what hurt him. It's his legs. He looks like Manute Bowl down below. Does he not?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
And I think, him not having that, I think that's why he got hurt. But look at his legs. Look, they look like Manute. That really bothers me about him.
Kevin Internet. Let's find it. So this is Nash and Durant working on some post moves. And just seeing how big of a person Durant is.
Nash is what? What do you think?
I think he's 6'1", 6'2". Might even be 6'3". The thing about NBA players is when you see them up in person, they do look like aliens.
Is that tall?
They're just honestly, they look like aliens. They're not human beings. They're so big. Like you're like, we're the same. Are we the same species? You wonder that. But right here, okay. For those that don't know, this is called the 3-and-D position, Zach. And the reason is it's called dribble, drive, or dish. All right. Some coaches might teach that, some might not. So when you get in this position, you can do one of three things: obviously dribble, drive, or dish. And so you're setting up your defender here and see what they're going to do. And one thing, and why I like this is this is what made Jordan so good. This is what made Akeem Olajuwon so good. This is what made David Robinson, Kobe Bryant. This is what made them good. Is post moves and footwork. You can get open. Watch Carmelo Anthony get a jumper now, and you can get open without even taking a step on people. And Durant being 7 foot tall, like just let me go back and look where he releases this ball, Zach. Just how tall he is. Now you remember
he's at about, let's just say 6 foot. He's at about 12 foot.
He's
11 and a half when he's shooting.
Let's say he's 7 foot. Now, how far is he off the ground? His toes are at Steve Nash's knees.
Mm-hmm. I was taking Nash into account. If he's 6 foot, he's kind of big.
Oh, if Nash,
and the ball's up about
right
4.5 feet.
I was going to add a 2 feet off the ground and 2 feet above his head, so the ball is released in somewhere.
I'm gonna say he's 10
11 foot.
Yeah, I think that's about the same. So yeah, and then he's not done yet. I think he's still going up. No, he was done. That
was the top.
But
of it.
Still, you shooting from 10. How tall's the goal?
10.
So it's unfair when you're shooting
right at your height.
You're shooting down.
Right. He is. That's why he shoots so good. He's shooting. That's why he shoots from anywhere. That right there, Zach, is why I think. What if he did all of a sudden say, you know what? Somebody teach me the sky hook. What would you do then? What would you do about Kevin Durant if he decided, I'm going to learn the sky hook?
I would. You know what I would do? When he gets a little older, might not hurt to bring somebody in, like if Akeem's not too old,
right?
Just to give him some different, the dream shake. What would they do with him doing the dream shake as accurate as he is?
It's insane.
Like he could probably, yeah.
But see, his jumper, like everything about Durant, other than his weird attitude about stuff, I think is just fantastic. Like his jumper is perfect. Him and Michael's jumpers are perfect. Like Durant's is even more compact than Michael's, and he's 7 foot. But Michael's was just like when people teach him and Kobe, when you teach the form of shooting, it's what they do. And Curry is not what you do. Steph shoots. I know it just sounds weird, Zach, but as far as form wise, he shoots a good form, but he pushes it.
Yep.
And if you've ever seen a 8-year-old shoot, That's how they shoot.
Well, the reason he has to do that, if you think about it, is because he was so small.
He was weak, and
Yep, that's
think about
why.
it.
That's why he learned to shoot like he
you're
did.
right. His whole life, up until he was 25, about in the weight training, he was weak and it's really skinny. And if you've never changed your shot from growing up, and you're hitting then, it's only going to get better and better and better. And
That's why he shoots like he does.
He evolved perfectly into it to where he shoots on the way up. And that's why, folks, when he does this and then he just turns around and takes off and noses it in, it's because it's a motion that, well, like, if you shoot it and you feel it just go off your fingers, you know that he's shooting it straight up. It's that angle of going up and back down in it.
And then with him getting, older, bigger, stronger, he's shooting the same way he used to, but he's just better at it. Yeah, that he's shooting the way that he does because of the way he comes up.
The other day, me and Hunter were discussing, see what you think. Does he play a long time? And my questions was that shooting wise, of course, he could play forever, but to me, a shooter is almost like a quarterback, to where you get to a certain point, your shooting still works, but your legs aren't there. Like Ray Allen, at some point, Ray Allen could shoot right now, but he can't guard anybody. So at what point does it get to work? Because you got to remember, and here's the thing, like I was telling Hunter, if he's Durant, let's say Durant, okay, loses his quickness and can't guard small forwards anymore. We move him to power forward. He can't guard power forwards anymore. You move him to center. Like, he can be moved. Steph Curry can't be moved.
No, and Steph.
And real quick, let me finish the thought. The best basketball players in the world, best athletes in the world, are NBA point guards. So it'll never be easy him being on the court defensively.
Yeah,
is what I was getting at.
And even with Steph, how he has to get open.
Run around.
He's a lot like Rip Hamilton, if you remember the way he played, or even
Ray.
Reggie.
He's Ray
even
Allen, Reggie, all of them. Yeah,
very
and
similar.
It's smarter that way and it's easier as a shooter also to get your shots if you can get open that way than having the ball in your hand.
And I might be wrong about this, but they designed screens to get him to his spots.
Right, absolutely.
I mean, you've seen Reggie do it. You've seen Rip do it. Who was the other guy? Ray.
Ray Allen.
All those guys wanted to get to their spot. They're comfortable at. You give them one little screen. All they need is a half a second.
Right.
You get a good look, and again, you're Ray Allen shooting the Spurs out of the championship and the Heat with the Heat.
So I think again, what I was saying is I think Steph can play for a long time for the shooting. I think it'll all be based on what role he wants to play. Does he want to come off the bench? He could be a fantastic sixth man to come off the bench, Zach, and drop 20 points all of a sudden like that.
Or
I think that'll be his ultimate. I think from the year he's 33 now.
I was fixing to bring up his age.
So at 37, right in then, if you're coming off the bench as a sixth man, Steph Curry for a good team,
Curry is older than you think he is because he went 4 years of college.
That's what we talked about Monday. Was that Steph Curry being 33 years old makes me feel older than almost anything.
Because it felt like it just came out.
Because I know I'm LeBron's age. I'm 1 year older than LeBron, or half a year older than LeBron. But Steph being 33, that makes you feel old.
And I think
I remember you playing at Davidson.
When Kansas knocked them out, and I was hoping they'd beat Kansas. I remember watching the game, and he's carrying. I mean, he's playing one of the top teams in the nation, and he is destroying them. It's always just him, I wish they would. That would be the team I wish would have slipped in and won the national championship. And shame on Carolina for not having him,
or Duke, or any of them.
Can you can't, man. You put all these scrubs on your team. You can't put him. Like, seriously?
I know.
He was 6'3" then. He was very lanky.
Yeah.
He looked like he was 12.
Yeah,
he'd shoot your eyes out.
He needed those tight Nike jerseys that they got now.
I guess we'll be hitting up the tournament now since we brought up the tournament.
Yep. Real quick though, did you know that the Houston Rockets have lost 17 straight games?
I did not know that.
Since Christian Wood got hurt. Christian Wood went out of the lineup.
Ooh, and that's after they cut DeMarcus.
And they lost 17 straight games. Zach, they were 11-10 and lost Christian Wood. and have lost 17 straight games, the longest streak in the NBA. The Magic have lost 8 straight. The longest win streak is 6. Sixers, Hawks. And that's it. How about the West? 7 of the 8 playoff teams' win streak is 1. All right.
Was Utah still the leader in the West?
Yeah, for right now. All right, NCAA back. All right, our old football stat we skipped over earlier real quick. Let me sneak it in here. Touchdowns over 40 yards
Yeah, I think we talked about this one last week.
in the playoffs since 2012, did we?
Yeah, it was one guy.
Rogers has 6.
Yeah, he had, and nobody else had any.
Romo,
right?
Alex
Or had
Smith,
one apiece.
Matt Stafford, Kirk Cousins, Edelman, Jameis Winston, and Joe Webb 1.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady
0.
0. Yeah, we did because it's right next to my picture of Spud Webb and Muggsy. I want to see a video of Muggsy dunking at one time because I know he could.
My favorite Bugsy video is the one where he shoots over Shaq and it goes in. The drive at the basket.
Yeah.
And Shaq looks like this monster's going to eat him and right over the top.
All right, let's do a tournament with Zach. Let's pick a bracket. Let's play.
This is probably the year I do better than any year because this is the year I know least about the college teams.
That's what Andre said.
Most of the time I follow it pretty well. And this year there's a lot of teams in there that's
All right, here we
different.
go. All right, let's pick the tournament with Zach. All right, Zach. I know you're picking them when I pick them because here's mine. I've got App State winning the national championship over Winthrop. I went. This is my all upset bracket, and some upsets aren't going to happen, so I skip over those. But for the most part, I picked all upsets because think about this. Let's for example, go ahead and look at yours. Let's say you've got Iowa making the Sweet 16, right? So let's put them in. Boom, boom. This other game is Oregon VCU. Well, what's the point of picking Oregon if they're not going to make it one more round? Because they're not going to get you any extra points. So go ahead and pick VCU as an upset, folks. And then if it's an upset, you get the extra points and the rest of America won't. And I do that through the thing. That's how I went on mine. So I ended up with the Final Four, Zach, because I wanted this one. App State versus Michigan in the Final Four. Now, please tell me why they didn't set this up. You've got a tournament in 68 teams, Zach, and you're telling me not somebody sitting in that room said, you know what? Why do we got App State playing damn Gonzaga and not Michigan in the first round? Right. Is this not stupid? Anyone? Bueller? You out there? It would have gave the network so much to talk about. And then if they actually beat them?
I'm going to the bracket now, so.
But, yeah, Zach, if App beats Gonzaga, I'll take beating the number 1 overall seed, too. You do know that 2 years ago, Gonzaga only beat
Yeah, I remember that.
UNC Greensboro by 4 points as the number 1 seed. So it can be done. Mountaineers can pull it off. All right, Zach, I got your bracket up on the board for everybody to see. Let's pick them. So you picking App to beat Gonzaga?
Nope.
Loser. Oklahoma and Missouri, 8 on 9.
Let's go with Missouri.
Creighton versus UCSB.
What's the
5 and 12.
We go with the 12.
Whatever that is. Virginia and Ohio.
Virginia.
We'll stay in this bracket to play it on out. Gonzaga versus Missouri.
What is it?
Gonzaga
No.
1. Host to Missouri.
Oh, you went
9.
back up.
I'm just going to go till I can run out of space.
Gonzaga.
On each side. We'll pick the final, this whole bracket. All right.
USB Virginia.
UCSB.
Virginia.
USB Charger versus the Virginia Cavaliers.
Virginia.
So you're not picking the Chargers.
And then we'll take Virginia over the Zags.
Okay. Now, let's go back down here. Do you got Oregon VCU?
Lost here. Hang on. Oregon or VCU? Oregon.
All right. Iowa and Oregon.
Iowa.
All right, so we got there. USC against Wichita or Drake. This is what's so stupid about this stuff.
We got Kansas out of this, though.
You having Kansas come out?
Yeah, Kansas coming in against USC, and then
You picking USC?
no, I'm gonna take Kansas going in against Iowa,
All right.
and then you got Virginia, Iowa.
You got Iowa over Kansas.
Yep. And
You-
then
you
let's
want
do
Vir-
Virginia
You want Virginia in the Final Four. All right. So Zach's got Virginia in the Final Four. Let's go.
They could have slipped in if they would have played well this year and have a 1 seed.
Let's stay up top on the opposite side of the region. Baylor and Hartford,
Baylor,
North Carolina and Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
No faith in your Tar Heels.
I love my, but I just don't. They're two play good one game and play horrible the next.
Now this one's the one I had.
Wisconsin's got a good basketball team.
This is the one I had in the national championship, Zach. I had Winthrop versus App State in the national championship. Winthrop against Villanova.
Take Villanova. What was that?
That was the computer.
Villanova.
Purdue and North Texas.
Purdue. Then we gotta go back up.
No, still going. Well, yeah, we'll stay there. Baylor and Wisconsin.
I'm gonna say Wisconsin's gonna knock them out. Wisconsin's
Zach's
got a
got the
good
upset.
basketball team this year.
Nova and Purdue.
That's gonna be a good game.
Big East and Big Ten.
I'm gonna give it to Villanova just because of their coach. Being there before Purdue ain't never there.
Wisconsin, Villanova.
Wisconsin.
Zach likes the Badgers.
They got a good.
He's gonna be a
basketball team.
big-
That's 2 4 seeds I think going in too.
Badgers.
Final fours.
Badgers is a 9.
Are they?
Yeah, we ain't got there to the Final Four yet. Texas Tech and Utah State.
Texas Tech,
Arkansas and Colgate.
Arkansas.
The Razorbacks beat the toothpaste. Gators and Hokies. Gators in a turkey matchup never ends well for a turkey,
Virginia Tech,
except in basketball.
then Ohio State.
All right, Texas Tech and Arkansas.
Let's go with Arkansas.
Tech, Hokies, and the Buckeyes.
Oh, definitely Ohio State.
Buckeyes and Pigs.
Buckeyes.
Buckeyes and Badgers.
Buckeyes.
So Zach's got
They
Ohio
a 2
State.
seed? Oh, they're a 2 seed.
2 seed in the Final Four. Let's scroll down. Michigan versus MSN or Texas Southern.
Michigan,
LSU versus the Bonnies from St. Bonaventure.
LSU,
Georgetown
Colorado,
and Colorado. Florida State and the Greensboro Spartans.
Florida State,
BYU and I guess either Michigan State or UCLA.
BYU.
I'm going to say that out loud and tell me if that makes sense in your head again.
What?
I know there's 6 and 11, but I'm just saying historically. Do you get what I just said?
Yeah.
Are you picking BYU or Michigan State or UCLA? Of those 3, you came out of there with BYU, Michigan State, UCLA, and the BYU Cougars. Texas and Abilene Christian.
Texas,
UConn and Maryland.
Maryland,
Bama.
Bama,
Bama and Maryland.
Bama,
The Longhorns and the Cougars of BYU.
Texas,
All right. Colorado and Florida State. You've picked all chalk mostly in this
Florida
one.
State,
Michigan, LSU.
Michigan,
Florida State.
Michigan,
Texas, Alabama.
What is Texas? A
3
5?
and 2.
Let's go with Texas, and then Michigan knocking them out, going into the Final Four.
All right. One more bracket to go for Zach. Illinois and Drexel.
Illinois,
Loyola, Chicago, and Georgia Tech.
Chicago,
Tennessee and Oregon State.
Tennessee,
Oklahoma State and Liberty.
Oklahoma State,
San Diego State and the Syracuse Orange.
San Diego State.
West Virginia and Morehead State.
West Virginia.
Clemson and Rutgers.
Rutgers.
Houston and Cleveland State.
Houston.
All right, Illinois, Loyola, Chicago.
Illinois. That's going to be a battle of the Illinois.
In Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee and Oklahoma State.
Tennessee.
Volunteers versus Cowboys.
I'm going to take Tennessee to knock them off.
Aztecs versus Mountaineers.
Mountaineers.
Scarlet Knights versus Houston Cougars. Phi Slamma Jamma returns.
Houston.
Phi Slamma Jamma and the West Virginia Mountaineers.
Houston.
The Illini versus the Volunteers.
Illini.
Illini and Cougars.
Illini. They got a really good basketball team. I watched them twice this year, and they come back both against top 10 teams and won both.
All right, folks, that leads us to Zach's Final Four predictions. He has Virginia against Michigan and Ohio State against Illinois. Ohio State, Illinois is a matchup of the Big Ten. Let's see if they played each other this year. Jump over. I want to make sure.
Yeah, Illinois come out and beat Ohio State.
Did they?
I believe so. It's about 3 weeks ago, the last. I think that was the game I watched.
Ohio State. Ohio State's lost like 3 or 4 in a row, hadn't they? They choked it out the last few weeks. Or games, something like that. Ohio State lost to Illinois by 3, Zach.
It was an overtime game?
It doesn't say. They beat Michigan by 1 and Purdue by 9. Minnesota by 4. So they've played 4 straight close games. Zach, they may
Very
be
good teams.
You might not feel good about that Final Four pick on that one. They've been playing some close games against teams that aren't Final Four quality. All right. Virginia, Michigan.
Virginia.
Oh, you got 3 Big Ten teams in the Final Four.
They got a good
Conference,
this year.
obviously.
Yep.
Ohio State, Illinois.
Illinois.
Illinois, Virginia.
Illinois.
So Zach picks the Illini to be this year's national champions.
Although I do like Michigan, but they scare me.
Back it up and look at their standings real quick in the Big Ten. So 3 of your
They were all ranked in top 10, wasn't they?
yeah.
Like 2, maybe 4 and 6 or 7.
Michigan was the best record in the conference at 14-3. Illinois won the most games at 16-4 in the conference. However you want to measure that.
What was Ohio State?
Ohio State was 5th in the conference, 12-8.
The top 2 are really good teams.
But Ohio State went 21-9 overall. So yeah, I don't. All right, how you feel about the Illinois for the champions?
I feel real comfortable with that.
Yay,
Virginia,
Illinois.
I think they're going to turn around and play good.
Illinois. Yay.
They just don't ever be able to score. That's Virginia's problem every year.
Tony Bennett never knew how to score, did he?
No.
Tony Bennett.
He's got a 15. He's got LaMelo Ball leading his team every year. 15, 5, and 5.
Him and Dean Smith, the only people that hold Jordan under 20.
Probably.
NCAA says keep a watchful eye on returning waging. I don't know what they mean by that. But the gamblers got to be all over this stuff as far as the
There was a meme
how
out
do you
the other
say
day. Go ahead. I was thinking about
the sick people, the corona. Go ahead.
Just talking about, I seen Jordan LeBron come up on your screen there, and it says, "How can you be considered a GOAT when he got his logo on your shirt?"
Well, that's another thing. That is a good question I was thinking about the other day. Patrick Ewing was sitting there holding up the Big East trophy, wearing a Georgetown shirt with Michael Jordan's logo.
Do you know
on the shirt in Madison Square Garden?
You know how he's still butthurt about that, like the Jordan thing. You could see it.
About what?
How bad he got his butt spanked every time they played. He's still butthurt about Jordan. He don't even like talking about it. You remember the documentary?
It's like 0-8 or something. Wasn't it?
And to go in and every time you watch your players, you're trying to coach them, you're seeing that logo, the jump man.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to be kidding me. That's the reason I don't have a championship. That's the reason Charles don't have a championship.
And he sits there.
That's the reason Carl don't have a championship.
He sits there and has to wear the dude's logo on his chest. Are we gonna have what? Are we gonna have LeBron's logo on any team's chest in 25 years?
I think Kobe would be the first to jump before LeBron would.
What's Kobe's logo though?
I still think they're going to get him on the NBA logo.
But what's the shape of the logo? I've seen the fadeaway, but again, Zach,
it's Jordan's fadeaway.
Yes, yes. Well, that's what I'm saying. What move is Kobe putting in a logo that wasn't already Jordan's?
Right. I know everybody's probably seen the videos.
I'm waiting.
When you do the Jordan side by side videos, he practiced a long time
to get there. Fantastic.
It's identical. If you didn't have, you could interchange their heads and it was identical. He practiced that for a long time. He practiced his interviews. You could tell he talks just like Michael. We talked a little bit earlier about. I thought you was going to make the reference when Michael came out. He was like, he didn't care. He was going out against Kobe. Kobe was like nobody at that time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I'm trying to find it. Surely to God, I'll find it somewhere.
It's just ridiculous.
That's Jordan versus Shaq, and it had head-to-head.
I would do maybe like I was just talking about.
This is showing like overall stuff, which that's not. I want head-to-head. The head-to-head games played between Patrick Ewing and Shaq. I can look that up. 26 games played. Shaq was 15-11.
I don't think it's over the top.
No. Well, people got to remember, that's why I try to tell Hunter and them all the time. I'm like, Shaq wasn't the greatest or best until all the other centers retired.
He had trouble with David. He had a lot of trouble with Hakeem.
Mm-hmm.
David and Hakeem was problems for him because once Shaq put
he
the
had to
weight
move.
on, he put the weight on. Remember, when he first came out, he was more like
younger.
them.
Right.
He was skinnier.
Right.
David and Hakeem was the mobile centers.
Right, and he had to move with them, and that's what made them so. Ewing was kind of in the middle. He was like a slow.
He was like a 10-man.
He was an athletic slow. It's weird, yeah.
Because
it's like his joints didn't move, but his body did.
He had good post moves. Because remember, he would back you up, dribble. If you remember,
right,
backing you up. He was dribble, and he would always like cut to the left.
He was a 7-foot Karl Malone to me.
Yeah.
They almost had all the same moves, same shot. They had that 15-foot jumper. He was just bigger than most people on the court.
Yeah, I think he measured it like 7'1", possibly.
Mm-hmm.
He was. I don't think he was 7. I think he was a little bit taller than that. So
I can't.
And then he had a flat top.
Shouldn't have been hard to find, but obviously it is. Kobe versus. Oh, jeez, they're not trying to. Tony Kukoc. I'm going to look at Tony Kukoc versus somebody.
Don't put it against the 92 Dream Team. That was an embarrassment.
Head to head on that. Yeah, Shaq. So just looking at it, so the finals he made in '95 got swept. Got swept the next year by Luke Longley in the East. Then David and Duncan won 2 in '96.
And that's when he was at the Lakers,
right? And then so him and Kobe get together. And this is after David hurts his back, and he's out, and he's 30-some years old now. Ewing's 30-some years old.
Kobe's got his prime.
Olajuwon's 30-some years old. Kobe's now the best guard in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good, perfect timing for Shaq in that. But people, to think that he came in the league and just dominated the league year in, year out and won is not true at all.
He played with the second best shooting guard of all time and the third best shooting guard of all time.
Probably, or there's argument. Well, now, the big argument on the internet now, Zach, if you're not ready, no, he's point guard, is James Harden or Dwayne Wade.
I'm not a Harden fan.
Everybody's arguing that Harden's better, but
filling up the scoring, does not make you better.
Doesn't count the championships.
When Harden plays in the playoffs, he is not the same Harden of the regular season because free throws don't get counted the same way. He don't get the line as much.
I know it's a completely different style, but it's more. Is it kind of like a Dominique Wilkins, to where in the regular season and things you just can't deal with it, and then you get in the playoffs,
I'll say
everything slows down, it changes. That one guy can't beat you.
I'll say this. You can have Dominique or Jordan, or you can have Harden or Dwayne Wade. I think it's a fair, Dominique's going to blow you up with highlight reels. He's going to put 27 up. He looks the part, but maybe not unfair to him. He never had a number two. His best guy might have been Kevin Williams and Spud, but then you got Harden that can light it up and everything else, but you got Wade
Doc
that can
Rivers.
win.
Stacey Augmon was supposed to be that dude.
He just didn't make
and
it.
He wasn't.
Yeah. He was.
was
He
supposed
just
to be
never
his-
had it. I mean, Doc.
If Augmon was as good as Larry Johnson was, they would have been pretty damn good. Is what a lot of people thought. I know we talked the other day about joking wise about Anthony Edwards, and I showed you his picture
Mm-hmm.
from Jordan and everything. Have you been seeing him the last few games in these highlights? Hunter just rolls his eyes at me when I say this, but if he ain't Jordan's kid, he's damn close.
That's funny.
Just watch the
Wilts
dunk.
is even better than that. I mean,
I want you to not necessarily looking at him. This is watching him play. Now close your eyes and you remember how Jordan used to dunk when he was younger. So what I'm saying is, tell me if this is not 88 Jordan. This is Anthony Wiseman, folks. Let me pull up the play here.
you talk about Wiseman from
Not Wiseman, Anthony Edwards, the number one overall pick, who I wanted the Hornets to get, who we didn't have a chance to.
the one you showed me a couple weeks ago where he was coming from the baseline.
Yeah,
He's a big boy. He's got an NBA body.
he's 6'5".
He's got an NBA body.
So
He's
what's this?
thick. I think his body translates better than LaMelo's.
Does the way he rises up, boom.
Yeah.
Is that not a Jordan like quick dunk? And that's why it's hard to describe his dunks. Like, it was quick. Here's the one on the baseline. It's the best dunks from his rookie season so far. I might just click on that video altogether. Of course, this video segment is brought to you by Capital One. What's in your one? Here's the one you was talking about, Zach. Where he just rose up. Oh.
Yeah, that's the one I liked. The guy should have never jumped. Shame on him. He's asking for it. Look at it. He
Anthony's
knows it. Like,
laughing.
he's
Yeah,
like,
he
what
knows.
am I doing? Like,
Right.
he looks like a 12-year-old Blake Griffin. Did you see that? Does he look like a 12-year-old great Blake Griffin in the background?
Look at this.
Why did you jump?
Tell me
Like,
that's not
you,
Jordan.
You just
Tell me that is not Jordan, Zach.
yeah.
Look at that. That's exactly what he used
He's
to
watching
do.
his own highlight.
Look where he's jumping from. And that's what I
Yeah, that's that
trying to-
baseline. That's that baseline Jordan move.
he's 2-footing from
Yeah.
he's got one outside
Yeah.
the lane.
Yeah, that and even the style of it, because if you get that side, that's Jordan like to do that. It's like a half tomahawk
Right.
or a half. What do they call it? Windmill. Sorry, not tomahawk. It's like a half windmill. Like watch.
But he's taking off 2-footers from outside the lane and jumping before this is the thing Jordan used to do. He would jump before the defender. The defender would jump, foul him, and the defender hit the floor before Jordan did. This is exactly what happened here. Watch Edwards. He jumps before the defender, takes the contact, and then comes down on top of the defender.
Poor dude. Why did he even try?
Look at that.
Just let him have the dunk. You're on forever posterized.
I wish I could complain about the Hornets not being able to get him and fucking it up, but they didn't even have a chance to. I pull for this kid hard.
Imagine
man.
if he would have went to the Knicks.
He's gonna be good.
Do you know how much highlights he'd be on if he was a Knick?
What if he is in Golden State right now? That's who had the 2 pick,
I think it's better that he didn't go there.
and they had Steph right now and him and Anthony Wiggins on the wing. They might not need Clay.
Clay might not be in a good position right now.
He'll be back.
He will, but what capacity?
Right. He's a shooter. The biggest thing what made Clay good was his defense. Is that he could guard the 2 or 3 guy on the other team.
How lateral is he going to be
Right.
now?
Are you still a shooter and a great defender, or are you just a shooter?
Because if he's not, I think it was 2 different legs, which is really not good. How lateral can he be?
God, that AJ Green going to the Cardinals, Zach.
That's huge. If he can stay healthy, I think he was sandbagging it and see at Cincinnati. I think he was playing the turf toe stuff and all this other. Turf toe can be bad, but I think he was playing it up. But how you going to do you got two good cornerbacks that's going to be able to defend them? Seattle, not Seattle,
Not
but
man to man.
the Rams.
You know who don't? Cowboys. Think about that right now. If you're a Cowboys fan, you have to sell yourself that your 28th best defense and Dak Prescott's broken leg that you just gave $40 million to is better than Kyler Murray with Hopkins and AJ
I don't
Green.
know how you're going to defend that. And then, okay, so let's just say, well, you know that you're not going to double. Well, who are you going to double? Which one?
Nobody.
So you're man-to-man now, or you're going to play zone. Okay, so let's say you do that.
You can't play. You have to play zone against Kyler Murray because
That's where I was going.
because he runs so well. You can't play man to man.
If you don't, you read my mind. Because what are you going to do when he runs for 10 and runs out of bounds every time? Mm-hmm. That's a huge pickup. I'm surprised they only give him 1 year.
There must be health concerns, obviously. If he only
How
got 1
easy
year.
is it to throw a contract away in the NFL though? Sign him for 3. Throw the other 2 away if you don't want him. My God,
They don't.
that way you're signed up
They don't
with him.
respect those contracts at all, do they?
No, the NFL's not guaranteed money. I mean, unless you're a quarterback.
Right. It's not.
$75 million for Dak this year. Let's just throw that number. So I think that's a huge pickup. That's going to change up the. They didn't have a bad team last year. They were just in a really good conference.
Same thing
So
this year.
Ooh, like I told you a minute ago, I thought that conference was pretty equal. They're loaded.
All right.
Then you got the NFC East that sucks.
I think 8 wins that division
I
again.
mean, you think when we were kids, that was the division of the NFL.
Well, put it this way. What's Tom Brady's Super Bowl record? 7 and what? 3?
3.
He's 0-3 against the NFC East.
Twice. Was it twice against Eli?
Yep.
Did Eli beat him twice?
And Nick Foles.
Wow. Is that not a bragging right for Eli?
Yeah.
Are you an Eli fan? I'm an Eli fan.
He's okay. I don't like either one of the Mannings actually.
Right.
I don't hate them again. I think they're both. I think put it this way. I think Peyton was as equally overrated as
Yeah, I agree.
Eli
I agree.
is underrated. You see what I mean?
If you could put
So
them
if-
together,
Right. If Peyton, I think people think Peyton was a 10
yeah,
and he might have been a 9.
yeah.
And people think Eli was a 7 or 6 and he probably an 8.
You know what?
You get what I'm saying with
if
that?
I'm looking at Peyton, because I like Peyton, I think Peyton's mind was better than his arm.
Right. I didn't like Peyton at all because he threw ducks.
He threw ducks.
That drives me crazy. Drives me
You're
crazy.
that big, and you can. I know you can palm the
And he's
football.
throwing them awkward. Accurate. Accurate is the word we're looking for.
But-
Word of the day.
I think his mind was so good.
I just come up with an idea for this show. We need a word of the day like Pee Wee's Funhouse. And go ahead and have something like programmed up
That
with
is
the
the
kids.
Tanner.
Yeah, we're gonna get Tanner on
That's
it and do the
Tanner's-
word of the day
that's
with Tanner.
No, yeah, and then he has to go.
We're not. We're gonna pre-record the thing because it wasn't when they said it. Then they did some type of dance and song, and then
That's
they go
going to
word
be
of the
what
day,
he.
word of the day.
Tanner, this is what you got to do as an intern.
Well, he says 7 words, so I can't really.
And he doesn't even say them with enthusiasm.
No.
So we're gonna have Tanner. You're gonna have to get enthusiastic, and you're gonna have to. He's going to have to watch Pee Wee Herman and figure out how to do that.
Word of the day, and then hit the noise button.
So Peyton was like, for me, his mind was that good. Eli thought he was better than he was.
Peyton's the first one. What Peyton revolutionized the game was going up to the line of scrimmage and reading the defense, and then making.
He was a coach on the field.
Yeah, he was the first one to do it, but he might have been also the first one that was allowed to do it.
And the only
So, I
person
mean,
that he really
like-
had a trouble with was Belichick.
Right, like Joe Montana and Elway probably could have done it.
It was what
Were
in
they
that
allowed?
time.
Were they allowed to do that?
Like they
Coach,
didn't have to.
So put this, Zach. One coach I had, I could audible it to whatever I wanted. Another coach I had said no audibles. Said don't change. No, you run the play I call. So that's completely different mindsets in coaching, and you just don't know what mindsets they played in under what coaches. And Peyton was one of the first ones. I guess it was Tom Moore, I think, was the offensive coordinator that allowed him to. Once you got there, hey, you're the one standing on the field. If you see a coverage, they're in cover 2, and our pass play won't beat a cover 2, you can change it. And I think you're right. He did that. But yeah, Eli with 2 wins over Brady.
That's the bragging rights.
Brady 0-3.
You know that's got
on the NFC East.
I mean,
What if I'd have told you in 1995, Zach, that a quarterback for the Patriots was going to make 10 Super Bowls,
unbelievable,
go 7-3, 0-3 against the NFC East, and none of those involved the Dallas Cowboys.
and
Dallas didn't even sniff a championship game. Dallas is, you know how bad Dallas has been the past 25 years, Zach? Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
Neither one of them have been
And what's the
to a
difference?
conference championship game.
It's because Jerry Jones let the greatest thing that he had walk out the door because of his ego, Jimmy Johnson. And he brought Barry Switzer in, and Barry Switzer won with Jimmy's players. And then it went all downhill from there.
Why isn't Michael? What's weird about Michael and the Hornets is that he was so steadfast on, I'm only going to play for Phil Jackson. And he's come in here in Charlotte and hired people that aren't. I know nobody's Phil Jackson, but like Borrego, he would have never played for Borrego. He would have walked out the building.
He tried to walk out on field
Right. At first.
because he didn't want no part of it. And then he figured out, oh, I can win.
Well, yeah, that is the offense, yeah.
And then he tried one time, he tried to get us a good coach, Larry Brown.
And he was 75 years old. He's too old. Yeah. 20 years ago, Larry Brown's a good hire.
He tried. I honestly had a little high hopes when we hired Larry Brown.
But, like, he hasn't brought in
Nobody
big-name
else.
coaches or anything like that.
And he really upset me when he brought in Mitch Kupchak.
See, I thought Kupchak was going to do well.
It didn't turn out bad for us. But
Because Kupchak has experience making actual real deals. Like, he's been with the Lakers. Now, Kupchak's problem here is
he's in a small
everybody
market.
wants to play for the Lakers.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to make a deal as GM of the Lakers, everybody is wanting to be on your team. Now you're making a GM as a deal where nobody wants to be on your team.
And again, going back to
That's
the
different.
Gordon Hayward, that's an A+ for us. That's the first free agent since.
No, ever. They've never signed a free agent.
So Al Jefferson wasn't a free agent. I was going to say Al would probably be our
Let's
best.
say, wait a minute, he might have been, but damn, that wasn't good.
Compared to Gordon, I don't think so. Now Al was like 22-9 for us. I mean, he's a good player, but again,
God, he couldn't guard me. He could score 22-9, but he didn't move. It drove me crazy how he couldn't move.
I get again A+. If we can add a player next year, like a legit player, that's, let's just say he might be a little old.
Well, what about this? That you're bringing that up real quick. There's a free agent on the market right now, Zach. We're sitting in a 5 seed. Looking at our team, and we're talking about the Hornets, what do you think? What would you say their biggest weakness is?
Power forward.
LaMarcus Aldridge is available.
It would be a great pickup for us, and they don't want him. I mean, what would you have to give up for him?
Who cares?
Well, but I'm saying, like, you can't give up Gordon.
Next year's first round pick, and that's probably all they want right now. He's asked to be released. They're going to release him. I'm saying he's going to be.
They're not gonna trade.
They're going to buy. They might buy him out.
If they buy him out, we can get him, which he's probably going to go to the Lakers or something like that. But still, I try to trade for him, or they buy him out.
But does he go to the Lakers?
Who's their
He's
power
he's
forward?
been a Portland Trailblazer and a Spurs whole life. Would the Spurs buy him out so he could go to the Lakers? Is what I'm saying. Spurs are in the playoff hunt.
Spurs hate the Lakers.
So that's what I'm thinking. I don't think the Spurs would let him go unless he's going east. And
But
of course, I'm not going to
landing
I'm not
spots.
going to the. My internet quit working 2 seconds before the end of the show.
So
Here.
yeah, I mean, if we could get him, it'd be a great. I wonder how old he is.
Think about it. If you're going to the east, where are you going? He's not going to go to Philadelphia with all those
They're
big
loaded.
guys.
Milwaukee's probably a no. They got Middleton and
Milwaukee's a possibility,
Giannis.
maybe.
yeah, Middleton's a forward though, ain't he?
Yeah, they're both. He's a small forward.
Yeah, and then Giannis is the power. So that's
They're
out.
kind of both shooting guard, small forwards. Power. They kind of rotate
Nets.
around.
Nets.
No Nets.
I mean, they got Griffin now.
Right. They don't.
They're too.
So I'm thinking the Celtics would be a great spot. The Hornets would be. The Hornets. See, the Hornets thing is like what you just said. Is I don't think they're going to sign. He would just sign with them.
Now here's the question though. He's never been in a big market either. He might not want to be in a big market. He might not be a big market player.
I'm going to hit the news and see what it says. 5 players to avoid in any LaMarcus deal. What does that mean? LaMarcus trade rumors. Celtics. The Heat was the other one I was about to say. Would he not work out well with them?
Oh yeah.
Him and Bam down low. Says Celtics Heat not likely, not interested. Buyout likely.
Who's not? He's not interested.
He says the Heat
I mean, I guess they're looking at it, what for the Hornets
for
then,
trade.
Then
he's 35 years old.
Again, what do you have to give up? I don't think
he's due $24 million. If the Hornets traded for him, they'd have to trade like Zeller and somebody because you got to have the money match up. But I don't think
it's hard to make the money match up
for the Hornets. It is. I'd pull up the trade machine if my internet was working on my.
You probably
computer.
have to give up something like Rozier, which you wouldn't want to do.
Right. So I think the Hornets' best option is buyout, but would he
take that to come here?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's looking for a championship at this point.
Right. Do you think he's trying to get? Here's my thing about it though is
he might show up in.
They said he's probably not going back to Portland.
He's not showing up in New York.
But like I said, you're right. So where's he wanting to go? San Antonio's already it's like a 6 seed.
Does he want to start?
But San Antonio's a 6 seed.
Yeah, I mean he's going to be coming here as a 6 seed or 5 seed.
So cut me to what's your better position? Where would you go that would put you better? Like if it was, and it might be the Lakers, but if you're the Spurs, why would you cut him? To get to $24 million, Cody Zeller at 15, Biyombo at 3, that's 18. You're still $6 million short. Hornets can't trade unless they did give up Rozier. So
I would not do that.
Now I don't know. Hornets may have a trade exception that isn't listed on that factors into that money, but nah, not really. All right, Zach. Any other news and notes? You got anything today?
No,
that we missed or
no.
Anything in NASCAR that you want to mention or wrestling or anything?
No, we destroyed the wrestling last week.
There was something on Cornette I wanted to talk to you about. Just and we talked earlier, and I couldn't remember what it was. It was something hilarious. Talking about I think one of the things was it was talking about the young guys in the wrestling today, Zach. How like they'll take bumps and
unnecessary bumps,
and they don't make any sense.
Right.
Like he said, one guy got knocked out twice and then kicked out of something.
and he also says this, and he's 100% right. He said, if you got a finishing move, he said it's called a finishing move for a reason.
Right.
It's because if you hit it, you're losing.
You're not supposed to kick it.
He said Brock Lesnar's giving somebody 5 F5s, and he beat Undertaker with 1 or whatever. Like, but you're having to give this Goldberg, for instance.
Right.
He gives him them, and Goldberg, it's a finishing move. He gives an F5, and Goldberg stands right up like he ain't never done nothing to him. You're going, you just killed his finishing move. It'd be like Flair putting somebody in a figure 4, and they're laughing at him while he's wrenching him. They're killing themselves based on trying to make, you build the story. It's backwards. Now, I hate the way it's going. That's why I don't watch it anymore.
I think they were talking about the young Bucks. Is that who it is? I've never heard of them.
He hates
seen
the
them.
Young Bucks.
Yeah, he can't stand them. The names he calls them is what yeah. What gets me mad is it's not that what makes me laugh is sometimes or most of the time isn't what he says. It's the way he says it and the passion he says it in. Like the simplest of things. Like I tell you, one of the ones I was laughing at was they ask him. He says like, rumor has it or said Ric Flair claimed 20,000 sexual encounters. And his response was like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to know? Like, really? How is he supposed to know how many times am I supposed to know Ric Flair had sex? Like, y'all really asked me that? Well, then he was like, he said, but if I come to think about it, maybe. And the guy's like, what? And he goes, well, damn. He said, first off, I was doing pretty good back then, and I can't help but think if I do the numbers right, I'm pretty high up there. So what I'm thinking is Ric Flair, there ain't no way in hell he wasn't getting more than me. He said he's Ric Flair. And the guy with him, I can't even remember his name. Do you know who it is? The guy that
I
does it
don't
with
know
him?
the guy, but I know his voice.
And he said, he was like, was Flair like that with ladies before, WWE or whatever? And he's like, yes, he's Ric Flair. Look at him. He's just like, he said something about Space Mountain and all that. It was hilarious. He's just going, he's like, just add it up. He said, you'd go to a town. He said, just think about it. If you had 5 towns in a week and you had one girl in every town, well, that alone is 250 girls a year or however.
How long has he been in the wrestling business?
5 times 50, yeah. And he's times that by 40 years. He said, God dang, we're getting up there pretty high, guys. I mean, he said, in some cities, guess what? You might have more than one. But he's like, it's Ric Flair, yes. He said, whatever number he said, I'm going with.
I've got most of the wrestling autobiographies.
That's so
I'll
funny.
end my statement on this. Got most of the wrestling autobiographies. Dusty's is awesome.
Yeah.
Bret Hart's is really good. I'm not a Bret Hart fan. Hogan's is really good because you get a lot of Andre stories. Flair's got 2. Both are really good. Terry Funk's is awesome. I'm a big Terry Funk fan. If anybody ever come out with one, Jim Cornette's would be the best because he has notes written like times, dates, years, money, everything. He's like a walking
Somebody
dictionary.
asked him about one of those matches, and he goes, you know what? I was there, but I'm guessing because I don't remember anything about that match. It must have been god-awful.
Yeah.
I think it was a Tupac match, whatever it is, 1, 2, 3 Kid back in when he first came out.
I hopefully he brings a book out.
Oh, God.
I like to read the stories from back then.
Yeah, he cracked me up. All right. Tomorrow I'll have Hunter on, folks. He'll be back, and then we'll be back next Monday and Wednesday, or it might be next Wednesday. We got Monday, Tuesday's Yetis.
I start vacation next Wednesday, so I'll definitely be here.
So Zach will be here next Wednesday too. All right, guys. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Shock Joxx, episode 20. This is year 2, season 2, episode 20. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. We talked NBA today, Charlotte Hornets, standings, and more. We talked NFL quarterbacks, Dak Prescott, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, and more. NFL, NBA, a little bit of everything. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. Shock Joxx, KDC Broadcast.